Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Decode Plus, right here exclusively on Digital Era Twitch. It is May the 4th, 2026. Hey, Ken, may the 4th be with you. He's a little confused, but he got the spirit. Uh, we know it's been a few months. In our defense, we have been very, very busy. I have worked not one, but two conventions in the past couple months. So I've had my hands full there. Ken, I know you were on the West Coast recently, weren't you, for a Dragon Ball event?
Yes, it was. I was out on LA for the Dragon Ball Super Card Games Battle Hour event. Uh,
Hell yeah. And we got a lot to talk about because it has been a few months, but proper introductions as always. I am your hostess, Taylor, finally at her effing limit with Epic Games May, and that down there is Ken, can't get enough of Capcom Cardez. And speaking of Capcom, I feel like it's probably going to be one of our primary topics of discussion as we roll into our normal preamble of what have you been playing lately, as if I don't already know.
gee, well, there's no surprise there. Been on a big Capcom kick with Resident Evil Requiem, and most recently, the best dad game ever made, Pragmata. Um, I even played my first Monster Hunter Stories game. Monster Hunter Stories 3 was out also. So I've been on a big Capcom kick these past couple of weeks into months. Um, and it's been great. Uh, I don't know what else to say. Like it's really amazing to see this company just come around and really shine at what they do best. At what they do best, which is make really, really, really good single player games. And when they actually put effort and care and genuine artistry into the game, they walk away with some really good results. Um, Resident Evil Requiem is like one of the best Resident Evils I've played in a very long time. Um, Leon, of course, is always zaddy. Um, and it's funny that Capcom puts out like two parental simulators almost back to back. You know, Resident Evil was very much the maternal game. When you play Grace's quest, you meet this character, Emily, who's this blind little girl, and then she becomes the thing that she cares for throughout the game. And then you have something like Pragmata, which is very much, once in a while we get what's become a term of endearment, which is what is known as the dad game, where you take this generally, macho, tough guy male character, and they get straddled with like a younger child or something, and their bond grows over the course of the game. You know, we're talking about the games like The Last of Us, the God of Wars. Um, that genre has kind of like ballooned as we speak. Um, and normally it's always like the tough, grizzly, I don't need to, I don't need anybody type male character. And I think what I like about Pragmata is that it's one of the first games to really turn that on its head. Like here you have a genuinely kind, good-natured male character, and he meets this young girl, and he's just like, okay, she's gonna help me get out of here. I gotta help her get out of here, and I like that it kind of does it differently, so to speak, because it's not like this character feels like, oh, I'm tacked on, like, oh, this is another weight on my shoulder. Like, no, the main character, Hugh Williams in Pragmata, views Diana as like a necessary part of his quest. And it's just such an endearing game to go through and play through and see these characters develop over the course of the story. Um, Obviously, it hits the the field train pretty hard, and yeah, Dad Space it rules.
I love that unofficial title that's been coined Dad Space. I love that so much.
Yeah, for a while I was calling it Dad Quish, but just because like the visual style of the game reminded me of Sega's Vanquish.
Sure, sure.
Um, and like I saw someone say Dad Space at one time. I was like, that's even funnier. I like both. So I think it's used for both of those games. But yeah, Pragmata is just a resounding success. It's a whole new director. What the director of the game was like one of the producers or something on Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Most of the devs were Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, like artists and coders and stuff like that. This was like a brand new team put together, and they were like, "Hey, make this," and it took them 6 years, and the game was delayed quite a bit for them to finally come out with it. It's met with resounding success. Sold over 2 million copies within its first like 2 days when it released. It continues to do well, continues to get praise in the industry, um, and it's all well deserved. Like we're almost halfway through the year. We're in May right now, almost into June. Um, we got a quite a bit of a gamut of games coming out this year, but Capcom, just being Capcom, already has two games that we know are going to be in that, those top 10 lists, those top five lists,
Oh
possibly,
yeah.
for what we look at the end of the year for the game of the year. Resident Evil Requiem, easily a game of the year contender, and even something like Pragmata. And what's funny about Pragmata is this type of game isn't new. This is like a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era action shooter. Um, but there's something about having those old school type of games done with today's technology and today's modern storytelling. Um, and especially in a day and age where like we always get like the gritty, somber, um, sort of like hardcore story, something like, when we get these dad games, it's always
Hmm.
something like a God of War was very much like tough, and still very well told. Like I'm not trying to rib on those games in any sort of way.
I
But I think
will.
what was sort of refreshing was just how genuinely lighthearted and how genuinely refreshing Pragmata felt, where like yes, Hugh's like the tough everyman, but he wasn't like he's not a Kratos, he's not a Joel. He's just this really kind guy that just wants to get through the day, and he's like, oh, this little girl's gonna help me. Cool, I'm gonna help her, and like he generally wants to do it because that's his character. And as you go through the game, you realize why he's such a good-natured person. And I don't know, there's something about that was really refreshing to play
Yeah.
as, you know. I was just like, man, this is really good. And normally I like playing the tough macho, badass, so to speak, and yes, Hugh is badass in his own right, but it's not like he's not your everyday action hero. He's just a dude trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's commendable, to have such a simple but meaningful and well done character like that. So kudos to Capcom for just being on a roll.
So Capcom puts out this well constructed game that they put a lot of time and effort into, a lot of love and passion into, that isn't set in this dark, gritty, like hyper, like whatever setting, and it's actually doing well.
Mhm.
Hey, Activision, take notes. Yeah, my wife is playing through Pragmata right now, as in like right now. Like they're in the end game. Like as we're doing the podcast, they're in the other room playing it,
Oh
and it's
boy.
going to be on my two playlist. Once they're done with it, we have it on our shared Steam family library. So once they're finished with their playthrough, I'll be able to play it unimpeded. And I'm really looking forward to it. I know I'd mentioned that I was going to play the demo here on Digital Era Twitch, and I was about to, and then my mental health went due south, and I just did not have the spoons for it. I'm doing better now. Happy to report. But I think at this point, if I'm going to play it, I'm just going to skip the demo and I'm just going to go straight into it. And I feel like from what I've seen, that's just going to be the best way to do it, is just to go into this completely blind with no expectations and just be thrown into this world and into this story and just experience it in full from beginning to end. And I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this game. It looks so good. I've heard nothing but high praise for it. I've seen the graphics, I've seen some of the gameplay. No spoilers. Thank God I have stayed spoiler free up until this point, and I intend to continue to do so. But I genuinely, because I don't, because you remember, I think it had to have been during the Game Awards, not this past one, but the one before, when Pragmata was first announced. And my initial reaction to it was, wait a minute, out of all the games that have been announced or that have been showcased tonight, this one caught my attention. And it has had my attention from day one. And it's just, and I'm finally on the cusp of finally being able to play. No other game has captured my attention like this since the olden days of Halo. Ken, literally the last game to do this to me was Halo Reach. That was 16 years ago, Ken.
Yeah. No, I mean, so like for me, the Pragmata dates back to when they first showcased it during I think it was during a PlayStation State of Play back in 2020, before all delays and everything happened. I was like, this game looks cool, and then it's kind of like faded into nothing. And then that same Game Awards, when they showed it again, I was like, oh, this game exists. Pragmata is real. But yeah, even when I saw that, and I was like, oh, space dude, girl in a blue coat, fighting weird robots. This looks interesting. And then as it got closer to launch, but the trailers, hinted a little bit more of the story when they released the demo, and I was just like, this game's gonna be fantastic. There's just no way this game is gonna suck. And it definitely did not suck.
Yeah, glad to hear it. Excited to play it. Can't wait to dig my heels into it. It's going to be so good. Can't
It's
wait.
really good. If you're a Capcom fan, like this is probably one of the best times to be a Capcom fan. You got a great Resident Evil, you got a great new single player, hopefully new IP. 'Cause I would like to see this turn into some type of franchise. I think it deserves a sequel. Um, Monster Hunter fans are eating really good.
Mm-hmm.
The Monster Hunter Stories game. This is my first Stories game, and I'm like, it's pretty cool. It's kind of like a time killer on my Switch right now, but I've been enjoying it. Um, and Capcom's not done. We have Onimusha coming out later in the year,
Yeah, I was about to say we have more
which
Capcom coming down the pipeline this year. Like they're just getting warmed up.
yeah, like we got that, and then next year, we have the Mega Man 40th anniversary, Pieces Dust, with Mega Man Dual Override, plus a couple of other Mega Man related surprises that Capcom will be revealing in due time. So yeah, this is just an exciting. This is just a great time to be a gamer, especially this year. We have so many good games coming out. I know that uh, Mario and I are eagerly anticipating 007 First Light at the end of the month. Um, that game just looks phenomenal. Like that game can't. That's just a game that we know is going to be good. Like there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like 007 First Light, this is going to be a great game.
AKA Bond
Wolverine,
charted, as Mario put in the chat.
yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Um, Wolverine, another first party title from Sony. There's just a lot of good stuff. And like, I'm excited.
Plenty of reason to be excited.
And he's
It's
like the character Atlantis Mole. I'm so excited.
it's so refreshing to see a AAA level studio like Capcom just put out these absolute bangers with love and passion and time baked into them in a time in the industry where we're just getting year to year copy pasted BS
Mhm.
just throwing together whatever sells, live service, microtransaction, this and that, and it saddens me to see that the industry is trending in that direction, and I am hoping that eventually, not eventually, soon, please, for the love of God, please course correct very soon, and start heading back to what we know and love. But at the same time, to have that little oasis of Capcom of still doing their thing the way they've always done is so nice, because it tells me not only do I have games that I can play from a AAA studio completely guilt free, but it also gives me hope that they are setting an example that maybe these other studios will follow. But let's be honest, I'm not holding my breath.
I mean, the smart studios are the ones that are taking their time and focusing on creating these really good experiences, and then you have some studios that are just stuck uh, at the beck and call of shareholders and executives who are just like, you must put these out or else. Um, but we're definitely reaching that point in the industry where the industry is not the industry in its entirety, but a good portion of the gaming industry is having that about face on the whole live service microtransaction smorgasbord out there. And they're just like, you know what, we're just gonna try to put out as best of a game as possible. Um,
And that's all we want.
because Sony is very guilty of falling into the traps. They had this big, a lot of these things were remnants of the Jim Ryan era, and we're unfortunately seeing that fallout. Why else would we have the Concords that we have, and all these other games? But even Sony was smart enough to kind of like, okay, let's not make these. Let's focus on this. Let's stick with this one, see if it works. And it remains to be seen what's going to happen. Some games obviously failed right out of the gate. And some games have had a trickle of success, maybe not the success that they would have wanted, that Sony itself would have wanted. Like Marathon, for example, was something that dropped um, in March, and it's had decent numbers, but it's definitely not the numbers that I know a company like Sony would have wanted. So who knows? I think it's just one of those things that time will tell, and I think a lot of the industry, especially like a lot of the third party and a lot of the smaller developers, are definitely realizing that this is their time to shine. This is their time to just put out a good game, do some half decent marketing, and people be like, "Hey, that looks cool. I want to play that." You know,
It's
and it doesn't even take a lot to even do that now because like we're so starved for a good game that anything that just looks like it was made with any type of merit is gonna garner our attention.
it
Something like Pragmata.
it
Pragmata had like nothing when it came out, but it was just like, oh, new single player thing from Capcom? Okay.
it's uncanny how simple it is. It
Yeah,
it
like
really
it's
is.
really not that complicated. And the industry continues to just like ebb and flow with like smart decisions, smart decisions. Here's a period of dumb stuff. Smart decisions. Oh, another period of dumb stuff. And we just sit here and go, can you just listen to us? Like, can you listen to the consumer just once?
Oh yeah,
But we
yeah.
have a company that's doing that recently, where they made some changes, and some of these changes are good, right, Reach?
Would it happen to be the same company I was just bitching about at the top of the stream for breaking my audio?
That's the exact one I'm referring to.
like for real though, Microsoft, we've actually been seeing some rare consecutive Microsoft wins. Uh, they've stopped. Like they've stopped rolling out Copilot on literally all of their uh, first party applications because we told their consumer base at large told them, hey, we don't want this, and they said, I. They have put out. I don't know if necessarily. I don't know if they had to update their terms of service or if this was always in the terms of service, and they had to clarify this that any like AI developer that uses Microsoft as their baseline platform, or that they develop or they code on Microsoft has said, hey, that's cool. You can do that. However, comma, every single one of your AI models needs to have its own Microsoft license. You can't just use the one and use it for all of them. You have to buy an individual license for every single one. So, kudos to Microsoft for that. Bleed them dry, please. And then, of course, the major, I guess the biggest Microsoft win that we are here to talk about today is, hey, cool stuff's happening on Xbox for once.
Yeah, so their new CEO has implemented some really smart changes. Namely, they've reduced the price of the Xbox Games Pass. I think they dropped it about, I think it was like $7. So not that big of a huge drop, but still something relevant where they recognize that, hey, this is probably a little expensive. So let's cut a cost there. Um, she's also made the decision to not have Call of Duty be a day one Game Pass game, so that way like they can actually make some money on Call of Duty for once. Well, that's been a point of contention. Like they spent all this money to get Activision Blizzard, and Call of Duty was losing money the past couple of years, and it's like this doesn't bode well for you guys. You need to fix this. Um, so kudos for her for like stepping in and realizing, hey, we got to make some changes if we're gonna survive as a platform. Um, and those two things are incredibly huge, and they're definitely more consumer friendly ideas that they've implemented than what we've seen from everything else that Microsoft has been trying to do with the Xbox platform. So kudos. I'm excited to see what it means for the future of Xbox because they have good studios. They just need to put out more consistent stuff from time to time.
Not the
Where's
same,
Gears of War?
and and
Where's
not
my
not the same copy pasted BS that they have been. Looking at you, Black Ops.
Yeah. I just remember, like, especially during the heyday of like the regular Xbox, and especially during the Xbox 360, there were
Mm-hmm.
just so many good first-party titles and exclusives. Whether like even if it was a third-party exclusive, there were just so many good games coming out on the Xbox. And for the longest time, with all the advent between Steam and Epic Game Store and Sony doing the things that it was doing, like there barely was a reason to own an Xbox system. And the whole idea of Xbox everywhere, while cool and awesome, eventually just backfired on them. So I think it's great self-awareness to say, hey, maybe we should pivot on some of these things. So we'll see where it goes. It's just another one of those things where it's like, these are good first steps. Please do more.
All I'm asking in this new advent of Xbox is it's been a while since I've played a since I played a Halo game on release. I think the last Halo game I played was Halo 4. Didn't touch Infinite, didn't touch Guardians. Don't even get me started on Guardians. Jeez. Um I have two requests. No. I have two conditions for a new Halo title in this new age of Xbox because I would love to have one. I would love like I'm always a sucker for more Halo. It cannot be live service, and it cannot follow the story of the Master Chief. For the love of God, let that man rest. Give me stories elsewhere in this universe following other Spartans, following other fire teams. Halo 3 ODST was an excellent example of that. I've gone on this rant before that we followed a team and a protagonist that was not the Master Chief, and it worked. Oh my god, we can actually tell stories in the Halo universe that don't follow the Master Chief. They did it once, and it was great with Halo 3 ODST. They did it a second time with Halo Reach, and it was great. They can do it a third time. They've done it before, and I trust them to be able to do that. But as long as they keep putting out Halo games like following John 117, the aging Spartan, I'm just like, no, no, no. Just he's done. His story should have ended in Halo 4, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
And I'm not gonna spoil anything to say why. Yeah, I don't care that it came out over a decade ago. I don't give a crap. Play Halo 4. It's beautiful. The ending is chef's kiss. The perfect beautiful bow on the box that is Halo. It was great.
uh, we're
You
gonna need the Halo now and the Halo extraction suit now.
honestly, wait, hold on. You might be cooking on something. I would give a Halo extraction shooter a try. I would give that a try.
I think it could work.
As maybe not as a full game, but maybe as like a game mode. Like
Maybe.
like you have like something akin to maybe is the spiritual successor to Firefight, where you have a more traditional type extraction shooter game mode, cooperative game mode in multiplayer. That could be a lot of fun. Actually, hold on, we might be cooking here. Basically, horde mode and Gears, but extraction mode, more or less. Yeah,
There's ways to make that concept work. I just think a lot of developers see arc raiders and then they're just like, let's try to do that. And it just doesn't work all the time. Like
no,
it's just
especially
leave it alone.
especially if you're it especially doesn't work if you're just copying over the last studio's homework, because hey, we already got this, we already played this, give us something new, not the same stuff but just with like different decorations and costumes on it.
Yeah. The other thing too is like extraction shooters are a very tough sell, and I don't know why so many studios just decided to say, "Hey, we're coming out with this," and it's like, do you understand how hardcore of an audience extraction shooter fans are? Like, they're not for everyone. Like, it's just not.
Yeah,
Like, as much of a shooter fan as I am, I didn't buy into Marathon. I was originally hyped for it. I played all the closed demos and all of that stuff, and the closed alpha and the beta, and even with all that, as much fun as I had with that, I took a step back and I said, I don't know if I can do this. And it's mostly just because like I'm already because of how hardcore I went with like Destiny and a few other games. I think I just got burnt out, and I said, you know what? For the sake of my sanity, I'm not gonna go into these games. I didn't get in. I tried the Arc Raiders uh beta, and I was like, this is cool. I'm not gonna play it. Same thing with Marathon. I'm just like, I think I'm good. I'm okay. I don't need them.
which is why I say give us a don't give us a Halo extraction shooter game. Give us a Halo extraction shooter game mode within the game that we can select in the playlist, just like Slayer or Capture the Flag or Oddball or Juggernaut. Like, just it would help freshen up, I feel, the multiplayer lobbies in Halo as well, because yeah, they have their old favorites. You've got Slayer, you got SWAT, you got CTF, you got King of the Hill. Um, you've got all that stuff. An extraction shooter game mode would be, I think, would be a lot of fun, and I think would serve as an excellent spiritual successor to Firefight. Which, if I'm being honest, as fun as it was, did get a little stale after a while. because it just felt like there wasn't enough variety. Like there, sure, you have different maps that you can play on, sure you have different difficulties, but it's basically the exact same formula every single match. Whereas an extraction shooter, you can throw in different types of objectives in there. You have the different terrain that you can work with, the different maps, locations, uh, and hell, with it being Halo, Halo gives you the inherent ability to customize your difficulty. So whatever whatever game mode you're playing, and the same could be said for an extraction shooter game mode, you can customize which types of enemies show up, what types of weapons or loadouts or equipment are available to you and your team. You can customize your experience, which Helldivers Helldivers 2 does to a degree. You can customize your own loadout and your own weapons, but the environment around you remains static in that it's dependent on whatever difficulty you set to. This is what gets thrown at you. You can change that in Halo as well. Like you can change what kind of enemy units are being thrown at you, how many of those enemy units. There is so much potential here that I think that if Microsoft were to tap into this for a future Halo title, I would advocate it. I would play it, and if I feel like they've hit the mark, I'll advocate for it. Hell, I'm saying do it.
Yeah, Lord knows a lot of their franchises need uh, big shots in the arms, so to speak. And there's only so much that we can enjoy Forza every couple of years,
Speaking of
and
Mario pointing
whenever,
out Forza Horizon 6 coming out later this month.
yeah, just don't have time for it. Like, I think my May game is literally Bond. Like, I feel like there's something else coming out that oh yeah, that doesn't. I think the Lego Batman game also drops this month too.
Does it?
I could be, I don't know. I could be wrong. I feel like it's dropping soon, or it's around that time frame. No. But yeah, gotta be uh, gotta be picky sometimes. But like Forza and Bond in the same month, that's crazy. That's huge. Those are two big
Uh,
games.
yeah, Friday, May 22nd.
Oh my God. So wait, so Lego Batman is dropping the same day as Bond Charted. What's up, Virgo? Welcome to the stream, dude. Thanks for dropping on in, man. Oh man, Batman versus Bond. I'm sorry, Batman. I love you, Lego, but Bond, especially IO Interactive developed Bond. Like,
Mhm.
oh man, that's rough.
No sleep gang that week.
For Bond, oh man, I think I'm actually legitimately gonna try to take some time off just to play Bond. I'm actually
Rotate
like
between
locked.
Bond Charted, Forza, and Lego Batman. Jeez.
Oh boy.
Mario, do I need to ship a caffeine care package to your place that week?
Give him a case of C4.
The energy drink, not the explosive. We're talking about the energy drink. For TOS purposes, we're talking about the drink.
Totally meant to drink. Oh man. Alrighty. Let's see what we got next. That's right. So it is, as of this recording, May 4th. And as you know, May 4th is May the 4th day. May the force be with you.
And also with you. Damn it. That damn Sunday school programming.
Yeah.
It's hard coded, man. I can't get rid of it.
Um, so yeah, it's Star Wars Day, but every day is Star Wars Day, but especially today. And I guess that means we're going to talk about Star Wars stuff. Namely, because this is a video game podcast, we're going to talk about Star Wars video games.
Do we have
And
to?
only if you want to.
Nah, yeah, sure. Let's go for it.
Obviously, this year we're getting an exciting new game dropping in October. We have Star Wars Galactic Racer coming out in early October of this year. The spiritual successor to Star Wars Pod Racer, if anyone remembers that game on the Nintendo 64. Because Lord knows I do, because I killed so much time on that game growing up. Um,
I played that game at McDonald's
they did when McDonald's used to have the little Nintendo
way,
64 set
way
up.
back when the McDonald's Play Place actually had to have like the N64s uh, in the area. That's where I played that game. Was I played that shit at McDonald's?
I could feel the graze in my beard just getting grayer. Oh no! I remember. Oh, back when McDonald's had play places, like, oh,
Damn. Anyway, sorry, Ken. You were saying.
oh man, we used to be a real country. Oh, true. So the spiritual successor to Star Wars Pod Racing, we have Galactic Racer coming out in October. But we're going to talk about some of our favorite older Star Wars games. And I think since we touched on the subject of Nintendo 64, we can't do this episode and not mention one of the greatest Nintendo 64 games ever made, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Anyone who grew up with a Nintendo 64 knows this game. And if you didn't play it, you weren't a real 64 player. Like, you just weren't. I'm sorry. Um, this was the tale of Dash Rendar, who was like this pseudo Han Solo character that fought at the Battle of Hoth, and then went on to go against a crime syndicate led by the evil Prince Zeazor. This game just had so much style and atmosphere, and I think back to when we played it, and like as crude and as clunky as that game was, because it was on a Nintendo 64, which wasn't the best hardware to make games for, um, but they tried. Like, this was like gargantuan effort from the Lucas studio that made this particular game. Um, and I even remember the toys, the tie-in toys for this, and the comic books. I even went out and got the comic for Shadows of the Empire. Um, like, as I'm talking to you, I remember myself how many times I just died over and over again. I think it was maybe it was the second or third area of the game where you're going through the caverns, and you fight like the ATSTs. And I think the boss of the area was Boba Fett himself. And just the music that played during that particular stage is like dun 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 dun. I was like, oh, it's just the train stage with IG-88. Oh, that boss fight was terrible, but we loved it and it was fantastic. But I remember that one. Do you remember what I think it was like the sewer stage or whatever, when you had to go fight that the creature under the water? Like, oh, that was terrible too. I hated that so much. God, that game is like the most loved and also most hated Star Wars game ever made. Yeah, the ship combat was fantastic. The final fight against Caesar's, I forgot what the name of his tower was, but when you're fighting in the Dash's ship, was his ship the Outrider? Was that the name of his ship? Yeah, Caesar's Skyhook. Yeah, that's it. I feel like it was his ship was the Outrider. Yeah. That when you were piloting that at the end, oh, such fantastic. Oh, so good. Yeah, Shadow of the Empire, just a fantastic game. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Um, Jumping from Nintendo 64, if you were a PC player, you ate good when it came to Star Wars. We're talking the TIE Fighter games, the the Jedi Knight games, Knights of the Old Republic. Like, oh, you guys had it good when it came to Star Wars games. Uh, Playing as Kyle Katarn was such an experience for me. Like, I was just like, this is how do you guys get this? I was like, I want this on console. And we didn't really get those games on consoles like years later too. Um, for a while, like when people say PC Master Race, this was the era where I could resoundingly say yes, because they got games that I was super jealous of. I was like, why can't I have that? Because you don't have a PC. Damn. Oh man. You know what I lovingly remember? When the prequel trilogies came out, and we got the smorgasbord of games that we got during that era. We got I think it was the Super Bombad Racing, where they had the oversized heads. That's also when we got Star Wars Pod Racer. Um, the episode, I think it was the episode 3 Revenge of the Sith game that was on PlayStation 2. I think it was PS2. That game was fantastic. I like that that game had an alternate ending if you killed Palpatine as Anakin. Um, God, we have so many good Star Wars games. I feel like it's been a while since we've gotten some good ones. Most recently, we got Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft, which didn't launch too hot, but after they picked it up, eventually it was like a really good game. Obviously, Respawn has given us two fantastic Star Wars Jedi games. We had Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Um, so I think we're back to that era of like Star Wars fans eating good. You know, we have a Knights of the Old Republic remake that somewhere development out there. Um, there is that Quantic Dream Star Wars game that will probably come out at some point.
one can hope.
That's hope. um, I'm hoping that Respawn is going to do another Star Wars Jedi game. Um, but I think they would just, I mean, Battlefront, sure. Like who?
Oh, I was waiting for Battlefront to come up. Um,
But yeah,
my
Battlefront.
my fondest memories of Star Wars video games were playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 on my dad's PSP. I don't know why my dad had a PSP. I guess he was listening to music on it, but all I know is I found out he had it and he just let me have it, which awesome, W dad. Uh, but one of the games that he had for it was Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I started playing it. And when I tell you that every every family road trip, every trip across town for like a doctor's appointment, anywhere that we went, that PSP and Star Wars Battlefront 2 were going with me. I sunk hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of my childhood into Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PSP. And even more so now because I found out later on, oh, hey, you can get Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PC through Steam. It is still in my Steam library today. It is still installed on my hard drive. I still break it out and I play it for the hell of the nostalgia.
Fantastic.
It really. I think Star Wars Battlefront 2 really shaped my idea of what a Star Wars game should look like and feel like, at least in terms of like an FPS style Star Wars game. Obviously, you've got plenty of games that aren't like that. One of the other ones that I played quite a bit and sadly never actually finished. I need to go back and finish it. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed on the Xbox 360, playing as Starkiller through all of these missions, the lies and the deceit and the are we really the bad guy? Are we really the good guy? Like what side are we going to play to here? And just all of that.
Star
It
Wars
just
Force Unleashed was just such a power trip fever dream of a game. I remember booting up the first one, and it, you start off as Darth Vader on the Wookiee
yes.
homeworld.
Yes. Starting off
I
strong.
everyone, and I was like, "This is the best intro level for a video game ever made." Period.
Fun
I
fact,
love the
it was actually Star Wars The Force Unleashed that introduced me to the concept of skill trees in video
yeah.
games. Like as you move forward, you collect the holocrons, you collect the power orbs, you can level up your skills, level up your level up your powers. And I thought, having never seen that in a video game before, this is the coolest thing ever. Like what?
To answer chat's question, yes, Starkiller's voice actor, Sam Witwer, does still he currently voices Darth Maul in the current show Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, which is a very good show by the way.
Mm-hmm. God, Sam Witwer, one of
Yeah,
the unequivocally one of the best things to happen to Star Wars in the modern era, just hands down. Him and Dave
the
Filoni.
show. Oh yeah, for sure. But Dave Filoni is Star Wars Jesus right now. So
Wasn't it actually Sam Witwer that out geeked Dave Filoni in like a
yes,
writers' room session where like they were going over the script and then like Sam Witwer pointed something else like, hey, actually this isn't right. It was actually went like this, and this, and Dave's like, oh shit, you're actually right.
mhm. Yeah, he corrected Dave Filoni on something that would have broken continuity, and so everyone knows that Sam Witwer is definitely a Star Wars fan,
Oh,
and
very much so.
he definitely cares about the lore.
Excuse me.
So he's a good person to have on that fold, and I know that he loves what he does. So
And you can tell it
it's good.
shows in his work and like not just in interviews, in his performance as Maul. You
Mhm.
can tell he is throwing 110% into his performance as Maul, and I love it.
For sure, just like the recent Star Wars shows, for the most part, have been very good. Especially the ones that like have that care put into it to tell a good story. Namely, of course, Mandalorian and Star Wars Ahsoka and the animated ones that we've gotten, like Bad Batch was a fantastic series. Maul Shadow Lord has been great. The Star Wars Visions, little like anthology things have all been fantastic. Acolyte could have been good. I think they had a really nice idea to get into the whole High Republic time period. Um, just a very predictable and boring story. Like it just was not as well written. Like it had interesting characters. It had a nice setup, and they just dropped the ball on it 110%. And I would have liked to see more, but I guess they're never going to touch that series again. We're never going to see more of the Acolyte, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably not.
Um, so they're just gonna kind of like gently walk away from it and be like, Baby Yoda. It's like, okay, we'll take it. No complaints here. I
Yeah,
will take more Mando and Grogu. Get Daddy Pasquale and
the Mandalorian
Mandalorian. Yeah.
doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well as Dad Space does. I tried.
No, oh man, imagine Pragmata on PC. Just do the do the mod. Just put you as the Mandalorian and replace Diana with Grogu.
Mario, I'm going to disagree with you on that one for a very specific and very important reason. Don't give me Keanu Reeves as Plagueis. Give me Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan.
Ooh, that would be cool. that's a deep cut for sure.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna bring if you're bringing Keanu Reeves into the Star Wars franchise in any capacity, it has to be as Darth Revan. I'm sorry, I will accept no substitutes. But just the humble opinion of a girl on the internet with a gaming podcast that makes her think she has power and influence over the industry. I don't. I'm just rambling away to the void, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
But the main thing is like Star Wars is something that when it's in its extreme popularity, when there's shows and the movies are coming out and you have a lot of the games, it's just a very good time to be a fan of things like that. Um, Obviously, there's been some downtime from like the last thing they've come out with till now. Um, but there's so much good stuff in the Star Wars universe that comes out that it is one of the fandoms that I love being a part of. Even though there are with any fandom, there's always the negative side of things. You know,
Sure.
the overzealous fans. Um, but for those of us who truly appreciate it, for those of us who truly love and care for the franchise, and to see what they do with it, to see what Dave Filoni has put out um, in various aspects of the different shows, the callbacks to putting things into canon, it's been fantastic. And for every bad story we get in a fandom, Star Wars is one of the ones that always has 10 more good ones or 20 more good ones. And the good always tends to outweigh the bad in that fandom. And that's something that
For
I always
sure.
appreciate about Star Wars, because when we celebrate it together. And I think that's something to be commended, when you have something that has been around as long as Star Wars has.
It's coming up on its God. I don't even want to say it.
Been a long time. Weezy's dust.
Star Wars
And
is gonna
Star Wars is gonna,
Star Wars is gonna celebrate 50 years next year.
yep, it's older than me, which is crazy. Because there's some things that come up, I'm like, oh, I'm old, and then you're like, Ken, Star Wars came out in the '70s, and I'm like, oh, don't remind me.
Finally, I think it'd be like finally something that's older than me.
But it's something that I've been enjoying for all my life too. So to know that it's been around almost as long as I've been alive,
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
I still remember the first time I ever watched one of the Star Wars films, and I watched them in release order. The first six movies, I did watch them in release order, so 4, 5, and 6, and then went back and watched 1, 2, and 3. Which, when I watched the Phantom Menace, I'm not even gonna rehash all the problems that people have with it. I was young enough to watch it and enjoy it at face value. So the problems that I see it has now didn't bother me as a kid because I didn't see them as problems. I just saw it as a goofy, silly Star Wars movie, and that's all I needed. But I remember watching Star Wars: A New Hope on VHS, rented from the local library. That is how I watched Star Wars for the first time. I still very vividly remember that. I remember which room in my parents' house I watched it in. I remember the orientation of the furniture in the room. And I remember the just exhilarating feeling that I got and the cheer that I made when the Death Star blew up. It was amazing. And then going through and watching Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, going back and then watching Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, which to this day still remains my favorite of the Star Wars films to this day, hands down. Revenge of the Sith, just it is amazing. It is visually stunning. Sure, it has its issues here and there, but I am also of the school of thought that every single one of us owes Hayden Christian a public apology for our criticism of his performance in that movie. Um, and even then, like going back and watching it now, it's like you can tell he's doing his best with what he was given, but even then, still not enough to knock the fans or still not enough to knock Revenge of the Sith from the top of my list as my favorite all-time Star Wars film.
Yeah, especially if you ever get around to watching Star Wars Kenobi. Fantastic what he's done for that character in that show. Even his appearance in Ahsoka, which was a surprise because I tried to keep Ahsoka as relatively spoiler free as possible,
Mhm.
episode into episode. Um, yeah, anyone who decried his performance owes him an apology. Um,
Myself included. Hayden Christensen, you are never going to see this podcast, but if you do, I am sorry.
to answer the question, no, I've actually never played the Rebel Assault FMV game, so no, I don't. I don't even. I know what that game looks like. I've never played it though. Yeah, Star Wars is very key to me as a back then when I was a fledgling nerd. It was one of the first things that I remember being in love with that made me really excited to be a kid. My first was video games, obviously, and Mega Man. That's what kickstarted, the adventures of Nerd Ken, so to speak. But it was Star Wars that really made me go, there's this world of stuff like this out there for me, and I want to be a part of it. And not only did I just want to be a part of it to consume it, but I also wanted to create something to be in that area. So Star Wars is like super instrumental in bringing out the the ideas of creativity as a what I would eventually turn into all my writing and all that stuff. Like Star Wars is definitely one of those things that kickstarted that adventure for me. It's one of the earliest memories that I had with my father. Because I remember turning it on when it was like maybe probably channel 11 at the time, WPIX, back when we had TV,
Those were the
watching it
days.
like on a Saturday like afternoon or something. And the first one I remember watching was Empire Strikes Back. So like I remember sitting there just mesmerized by that particular film. And I knew what Star Wars was because, obviously at that time as a child, I would go over families' houses and they would have like the toys and stuff. Um, but I remember how like enthralled I was about The Empire Strikes Back and seeing Darth Vader and just mesmerized by the whole story and everything. To then have my dad buy the VHS films that were out at the time and watching them in order. I was hooked ever since.
Oh yeah. There's just something
So
about the
Star Wars.
original trilogy. It just no matter which movie you start with or where in the movie you start, if you're seeing Star Wars for the very first time, there's just something about the original trilogy that just grabs your attention from frame one. And it's
Yeah, I think
honestly beautiful.
I think if you became a fan, whichever trilogy you have come into the fandom is, and I'm sorry if the sequel trilogy is the one that brought you into this, but hey,
Our
we welcome
condolences.
you. Our condolences, but thankfully you realize there's all this other awesome stuff. Uh, um,
We're sorry, but welcome.
but it's just so cool. It's just such a great thing to be a fan of. You know, the music is just so memorable. That the visual style of the films is fantastic. We're in the best era of it because the technology has gotten to such a point that it's so much easier to do this type of movie. But to think about the artistry that went into the original films back in the 70s, how they had to do all of that, how everything was made by hand and puppeteering and rigging all these intricate sets and stuff like that. Like that love and care, you don't get that in a lot of movies. So it's always good to see it be something that's consistent in a particular franchise, especially when you have people at the helm of it who understand this is where it came from. This is the technology that we have now, and we can still put that effort, that love, that care into franchises that have spawned many memories for many generations. And whether that's Star Wars or video games, it's all the same. You put love and care into a particular project, and it comes out and it's received by so many people and it inspires so many people. You have genuinely created art, and that's something that can never be replaced.
Amen.
That's going to do it for our show. So we will catch you on the next one. But until then, as always, you've been decoded.
Night, y'all.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us across social media for updates. Thanks for watching!